every single member of this delegation is committed to not normalizing colonialism, racism, and occupation. Every single member of this delegation is committed to the Palestinian right of return. Every single member of this delegation is supporting the Palestinian project of liberation, however Palestinians like that. So all our meetings in the past, in the present, and in the future will be always involved with people who are supportive of the Palestinian agenda, the Palestinian anti-colonial agenda. Therefore, we do not meet in Israeli universities. We do not meet with Israeli institutions. We meet with people who are supporting the Palestinian project for liberation.
But are these people with the BDS?
Yes. Okay. And I'm talking about, we're actually specifically requesting that this is the kind of people we want to meet with. We are not talking, I think it's really important to even like go a little bit before, because you're asking me why. I think the question, the implied question, is that what makes it so special, and why talking about this, because we actually would like to be able to clarify. We're not talking about identity politics. This is really important to understand. We really want to see what are the forces that are existing in the Israeli Jewish community. We're meeting with Palestinians in the 48 with all sorts of groups, from Naqab to Haifa to Day of the Land, everywhere. But what sort of members, what exists in the Israeli Jewish community, what is there that supports the Palestinian Liberation Project? And I want to just maybe take it a little bit further. In South Africa, and people were saying, Palestinians are very much inspired by the anti-apartheid movement. In South Africa, there was a very small number of white people who joined the liberation movements. Very small. We have 3 comrades from South Africa who can explain to us. It is the question, and it was never going to be a lot. And in this Israel, there are not going to be a lot of people until people actually give up the comforts and the benefits they accrue as a result of being Israeli Jews in an Israeli settler colonial state. I mean, this is how settler colonialism works. It works in the US, it works in South Africa, it works here in Palestine. So based on that kind of analysis, we are not favoring and choosing specific groups for particular identity politics. We really want to have serious discussions about what this means. So when I mentioned I mentioned that to counter the arguments by this Dan Dayan, because this is very easy for in the United States to come and say, well, we rescued Ethiopian Jews, and then you point to multiple ways in which actually Ethiopian Jews are falling in the Israeli racial map. That makes it very possible to understand that, because also the US also as a settler colonial project has a racial map, and it has to have. It's part of the DNA of settler colonialism to have racism embedded within it, and there is no way that Israel can even maintain the facade of a Jewish nationness where everybody is equal, because it is built on genocide, it's built on settler colonialism, it's built on stealing people's land, it's built on exploitation. It cannot be. It can never be a space when they say Israel is democracy. It cannot. This is also a facade. So I was trying to contest that as well.
Good morning. I told you you'd come back. Welcome home, Rabab, and welcome back, Robin. I just have a quick question, because it's going to be a long day. So I have a quick question for you, Rabab. I have a lot of questions for you, Robin, but I'm going to save those for till the end of the day. You talked about the vicious campaign against you and the university, and so you talked about, and somewhat, Yanni, congratulations for what happened. Yanni, I don't know if we can call it a win, but my question is, because we know that the university isn't just the structure, right? We understand from the undercommons that the university is a top-down project and it's also a bottom-up project. So I was hoping you could talk a little bit about, during this sort of storm, what it was like to teach. Because administrators are one thing and students are another thing, and they're not robots, right? So you continue teaching. So I hope you can talk a little bit about what it was like, one, to teach in a program like that, and how that program has sustained itself in spite of, or perhaps on some levels because of, the kind of attacks that have been made on it from the top down. Because we're talking about pedagogy, and we're talking about not just structural issues, which are important, but I think our students are really important as well. So how did How does it affect your relationship with the students and your relationship with teaching?
Thank you for this question. You're absolutely right. I do think this was a win. It took a while for my lawyers to convince me that it was a win, I have to say, because I'm always skeptical. And also what's happening is that at the time that we're also winning, I mean, the judge saw through it. If you read his ruling, it's actually quite interesting in the sense that he sees a lot of things that the Zionist plaintiffs were trying to make him not see. For example, he refers in one place to how I label the students as they having white privilege. And so they wanted to only use like one line of what I said, white privilege, but not use the rest. And he said, no, I would like to admit the whole blog, which is one of the pieces I wrote for Mundo Weiss about the spirit of 68 and Zionism and so on. Read it all, which is really great. He also challenged their definition of that they actually own Jewishness and they can define what it is by introducing Jewish voice for peace and so on. And this is actually a huge thing in a liberal community that the dominant mainstream view is that. Now, how is it to teach? The students are amazing. I mean, it's just a pleasure to continue to be able to teach. And the students have become much more radicalized outside of the classroom as well as in the classroom. We don't just teach Palestine in the classroom. I have one course called Palestine, but we also have 2 other courses that we were able to propose and get them approved as general education courses as the campaigns were happening. We submitted them between the time that Campus Watch launched the campaign against the MOU with Al-Najah and Horowitz posters that appeared on October 14th. And they were approved. And one course is called Edward Said, and the other course is called Palestinian Mural and the Art of Resistance. And Palestinian mural is being taught now by one of the co-muralists, Dr. Susan Green, who actually is anti-Zionist, who was one of the muralists who painted the walls of the inside Ibda and inside the Popular Art Center here in Palestine, inside because people couldn't paint outside. And the Edward Said, I taught it last semester and I will be teaching it next semester. But it's all our courses. Students are very much interested in understanding what does this mean. Of course, there are students, and I have students who disagree, who support lawfare and who think this is not something to bring into the classroom, and they think that these issues do not belong there. And also it was very interesting that I also received criticism, which I believe it was from students who support that project, are saying that why do you talk about Puerto Rico and COINTELPRO, counterintelligence program, in a class on Palestine or on civil liberties of Arabs and Muslims post 9/11, 2001? How could you understand civil liberties of Arabs and Muslims if you don't understand the counterintelligence program, McCarthyism, and the silencing of other people? You couldn't understand that. Why is it that you are teaching Arab and Muslim ethnicities and diasporas and not calling Middle East? Go to the Middle East and Islamic studies. That's the better program to be teaching. You are not objective. You're biased in your analysis. So there is that. But at the same time, students who are actually really engaged in the community on their own have become much more engaged as a result of the classroom. The last point I would say is that we also, and as I said, we're teaching inside and outside of the classroom. So as a result of our budget cuts and no funding, what we've been doing is we are opening the classrooms to the community. We've been doing it for a very long time, but now it's become more of a necessity. So all the time we're doing teach-ins. So in February we had a Teaching Palestine at SFSU. When we return, we have teach-ins reporting on this our trip, on the conferences. We also have a big teach-in with multiple people, and Nanea Renieta, who's going to be speaking this afternoon. We're bringing our classes together and having a course on indigeneity from 1492 to 1948. And so we are doing all of these things. It's very difficult to do it with the administration. It's very hard because there are obstacles placed in our... It's also very difficult for me as an advisor to GOPS and Muslim Student Association, Muslim Women's Student Association, because the university is putting more obstacles, not only for us, for everybody. I mean, it's becoming very difficult to have any advocacy on campus. So, yeah.
اوكي بحب اشكر المتحدثين التنين. حنطلع ببريك لانه حنحاول نكون حسب البرنامج، لانه في ناس عندها التزامات حتكون متحدثه في المؤتمر. ونطلع بريك 10 دقائق ونرجع للجلسة الثانية اللي هي الدائرة الطاولة المستديرة. أوكي شكرا.